Good day, folks. Lots to talk about today. And today I thought we would go ahead and talk about all the news that's going around with what's going back and coming back to the United States of America. It started last week when Tim Cook went to the White House in front of President Trump, talking about the $100 billion and $600 billion investment back into America over the next 4 years. It was interesting just kind of seeing Trump there kind of looking around, talking about himself, saying, hey, I did that. But the reality is he did do that. Now, that is a direct impact that, of course, helps Americans. Now, I start thinking a little bit further than that. I start thinking about, okay, what is the impact of that? So they're bringing jobs back into America. So who's going to be doing that? Especially when you have a need, potentially low-skilled workers to do it. Let's take it a step further. America has less skilled workers now than they did, 5 to 10 months ago? Because you got ICE over there deporting some illegals that were in fact doing low-skilled work. Now, right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what has happened. So I'm curious who's going to do it. But let's just turn it up a notch. You have Amazon adding 700,000 different robots and going to replace 100,000 workers. Keep in mind, robots, they don't call in sick. They work 22 hours with 2 hours of charging. There's no lawsuits. There's no breaks. There's no lunches. And there's no benefits. I mean, this is the reality of where we're at right now. So production can go much higher on a company level. But what does this all mean to us? Because on one hand, is now Apple going to charge us more for our products? Because wouldn't you think it costs them more to do it, especially bringing everything in America? I mean, I get it. I have clients who have operations in India and the Philippines and so on that are paying between $3 to $5 an hour. So like, what are we really talking about here? So how is it going to save them money by doing more work here? That sure makes our government happy. That brings in more revenue by doing things here in America. So that part is cool. But what true impact is that going to have on us? The logic is it's going to be more expensive. Now then you take it even a step further. And when you take it a step further, now you start looking at what I call, and these plans of universal basic income, which Sweden, by the way, tried this out. Universal basic income is people that are sitting home doing nothing, get paid for nothing for the rest of their lives. So is our government going to start to tax robotics for taking Americans' job, humans' job? I mean, that could be the next level, right? You have AI, right? You have these writers in Hollywood that are doing strikes. Remember that? Because technology has taken their job. So all of this is a massive impact. And a lot of this was maybe with CGI and people, we might not even need actors anymore if you really think about it. But all of this is the enhancement of where we are today. It's the enhancement of everything that's going on in our society. And this is where, from a financial point of view, there's two things to take into account: direct and indirect impact to you. The direct impact to you is your job safe? I know here at Falcon, we use AI a lot more for legal issues and creating a template of a doc versus our attorneys doing it before. What used to cost us $2,000 to $3,000 maybe now costs us $500 to go to our attorneys to look over or review a document or to create a document. So there are direct, even something as strong as a lawyer, even something as strong as maybe engineers in certain files or programmers or in coding have now changed. It went from travel agents to Expedia and needing coders. And now you can have AI do the coders there. They're app developers. Now the indirect impact of all this is what? So we have the direct impact of how it affects us in our job. So now talking about the indirect impact. Now the indirect impact is on your investment portfolio. How does it impact your investment portfolio? What are you doing? What type of exposure do you have? What type of things are you doing right now to have that direct impact where you can actually participate in some of this? This is a big key that is often overlooked. Folks, this is Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner. You're listening to More Knowledge, More Wealth, and we're talking about all important topics of personal finance. And today we are talking about the portfolio and some of the items that are happening in today's news. And today's news, when we heard, last week's news of Tim Cook, and you start hearing about Amazon, what they're doing with their robots, and you start now hearing about just the additional benefits of companies doing business in America. I know a few months back, SoftBank said they were going to do hundreds of billions of dollars of new investments in America. You have other international companies like Taiwanese Semiconductor now doing more business in America. They have a massive headquarters in Arizona, in the Phoenix area. So like you have more companies, international companies, Samsung and so on, that are doing business here. They want to be on the good side of America. And listen, it's logical. It's understandable. And with the biggest piece here is you want to be able to participate. Is it going to be more expensive? Yes. But now with tariffs, that's the whole logic. If you have it done here, it's more affordable and more logical and more of an execution strategy for them. These are the big impacts that you're seeing. And because of all the bureaucracy America has had for so long to make it difficult to do business here in America, that's where now we're able to make it a little easier, a little better, and ways that it could impact, hopefully, our finances. But the reassessment of ourselves is going to be crucial. And these are key elements that I think that is often overlooked. Because when you look at what not only you're going to do and what your job may look like in 5 years from now, but also what your kids' jobs are going to look like as well. These are core aspects that I think are crucial. But when you're looking at yourself over the next 5 years, you have to start asking yourself, are you getting up to date in technology? I took a car ride home with some 3 amazing men as we came back from the Dodger game. Dodgers were playing. We had a great time. And they said, the gentleman, as we were driving there, I elected to drive, he said, wow, you do a great job selling Teslas. I go, well, I've had one for 7, 8 years now? And I think they're fantastic cars. Putting politics aside, who cares? They're great cars. I wake up every day with a full battery, and it has a lot of self-driving features, and it's just a tech car. And so I was talking about all the features, and they really enjoyed it. But on the way back, I don't know what happened, but I had to, because it's a Dodger game. Anybody from LA knows they have the worst parking and the worst venue out there. So we started talking to their new update of Grok. They didn't know what Grok was. They knew what ChatGPT was. But we started talking to Grok. And we started having conversations with Grok. We started having arguments with Grok. Some of these people had very strong political beliefs. And I set the settings for Grok just to mess with the dude in the back seat to argumentative. And sure enough, Grok was really good at arguing. And the idea of all of this is they were blown away. They had no idea you could do such a thing. But that car ride opened their eyes to the power of technology. It could be form of a therapist, it could be form of an assistant, it could be form of an operator to help you perform and complete tasks. This is the power of technology, and this is something that you should be incorporating in your everyday life, and you should be looking for investment opportunities. But when we come back, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk more about the impact on your portfolio and what you should be doing to have exposure. We'll be right back after a few words. This is Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner and President of Falcon Wealth Planning. We wanted to offer you a free financial assessment for listening to the show so you can help relate it to your specific situation. We offer multiple services such as retirement planning, where you are today, how retirement looks like, talking about Social Security, real estate, planning, even if you own a business. Talking about taxes, not just how to save money today, but also throughout retirement. Talk about investments, making sure you're avoiding those high fees, costs, commissions. And also estate planning and insurance, just making sure you're properly protected if, God forbid, something were to happen. And we're offering 1 to 2 meetings, 1 to 2 hours of our time at no cost. Give us a call. We would love to help. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird. Or visit our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's falconwp.com for short, and fill out the form fill right there on our site. Welcome back, folks. This is Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth, here on Every Week. And we are talking about all important topics of personal finance. And today we are discussing technology. We're talking about, because Apple's kind of bringing business back over here, you have NVIDIA We didn't talk about this in the first segment. NVIDIA said 15% of their sales to China is going to America. Folks, that's a tariff. However the hell you want to address that. That is an internal way of saying you owe us money for doing business with China. That money is China's going to be paying that difference. And so these are core attributes of policy changes. And NVIDIA stock, I mean, it's obviously doing well. That's not a buy recommendation. But what you do have to take into consideration when you're looking at all of this, of the indirect impact to you, is what? The indirect impact is your investment portfolio. Where I've been talking all this time of value companies. Now, value companies is always looked at as maybe like the Johnson & Johnson, the Procter & Gamble's, the McDonald's of the world. And growth companies have been historically the Apples, the Googles, the Microsofts, the Teslas, and the NVIDIAs of the world. And when you look at some of these core attributes and what some of these things are valued at based on the income they're coming in, you could argue it's value. But the growth trajectory is massive. You now have to start re-identifying, recalibrating your portfolio to what growth and value actually means, and building a portfolio that makes sense where you can participate in these mega companies that have substantial growth and, oh, by the way, unlike the dot-com bubble, in fact, are profitable, are making money, hand over fist, that have massive, massive, massive market share. There's very few companies out there that are powerful. And even though I spent some time talking about the indirect impact on you the direct impact on you of your current job right now and how AI can very much take it over in 5 years, especially when you factor in these robotics. Which robotics are the only main ones that are commercialized right now? Maybe that's Elon Musk's Optimus is commercialized. Yet again, these are things to take into consideration. I'm not telling you to buy NVIDIA, which has one of the most powerful chips out there, these super chips, these quantum computing chips. I'm not talking about Tesla stock. I'm talking about diversification. There's other companies that are doing this. These are things that you have to assess and analyze. Not to buy into those two. That is not a buy recommendation. Some would say they're pretty high right now. Could they go higher? Sure. Could they go lower? Absolutely. Could they go out of business? Sure, anything can go out of business. There is not one company that is protected. As Amazon's CEO, ex-CEO said, is Amazon will be out of business one day. His job is to keep it in business as long as possible. So, reassessing you is looking at your portfolio. This is why we offer a free financial assessment where we give you 1 to 2 meetings, 1 to 2 hours of our time at no cost. Doesn't matter where you're located. We got offices all across the country. Heck, we do a lot of our meetings on Zoom anyway these days. We would help answer those questions. This free consultation will be able to identify what you're doing, give you recommendations, and more importantly, answer the questions that you have. Folks, give us a call. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird. Or visit our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's Falcon, WP.com for short. We can answer those questions for you because I know this could be intimidating. What has helped you get you to where you are today may not be the same answer or the same recipe of what gets you to where you need to be tomorrow. And this is the biggest fear. This is the biggest unknown. Whether you like ChatGPT or OpenAI or XAI or Perplexity or any of these other AI agents that are out there, the realistic scenario is it's already making its impact. By taking this into consideration, your financial situation, and looking at the technology that's out there, there's a reason they're saying it can be more impactful than the internet because it has the power in its hand and it can access so much in such a fast period of time. It can take over graphic designers. It can take over coders. It can take over programmers. It can take over legal. There's so many things that it can do. And most people are not taking advantage of it. I'm not here trying to sell it. I'm not trying to tell you to sign up for it. I'm just trying to be familiar with it. As my buddies from the Dodger game that were blown away with Grok, those are the things that just you need to know it exists. Test it out. Understand what it's about so you can at least have an educated conversation on it. By the way, folks, if you're just joining me, you're listening to Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth, here on every weekend, talking about all important topics of personal finance. Today, I wanted to go over with you just these topics of finance and these financial topics of understanding the indirect impact of your portfolio and how it could be significantly lagging. Now, listen, I get it. If you're not taking 100% risk, right? If you're not comfortable with these 30 and 40% drops that happen with tech companies like it did in 2022 or during COVID, then I get it. But you could still look at the equity piece of your portfolio. If half of your stuff is in fixed income or bonds and half of it is in stock, fixate on the stock allocation of it. See if it's properly allocated for the portfolio of tomorrow. This is the key part. You still need your large caps, your mid caps, your growth, your value, small caps. You still need diversification, international, and so on. But still, there is so much happening in the world today. And who's at the forefront? You want to make sure you are investing on the right team. Taking a step back now, going back to the direct impact, I still look at Sweden's case study of the universal basic income. And these key concepts are something that may, in fact, be real. I overlook the comment of maybe this is something that will be happening. We get upset when we talk about handouts, but when you have potentially 1 million plus construction workers no longer needed because you have somebody that a machine, an Optimus machine, a robotic AI machine that can hammer itself, that can carry wood itself, that can lay flooring itself. All these can be programmed to do. You could do this with almost every job. You're starting to see more of this at restaurants. You might still need an engineer on staff to fix these things as they go haywire, but the idea of thinking for a second that it's no longer necessary or you'll always need humans is incorrect. And there's two sides to this. I've heard somebody say that they've actually talked to AI. They've talked to Grok. They talked to some of these where you can have full-on conversations with them. And depending on the subscription you have, it could be a private network. With all that being said, some of these conversations people are now having as therapy. They're actually having full conversations, and there are modes where you can have a therapeutic mode. It reminds me of a movie, with Joaquin Phoenix, I believe his name, in a movie called Her, where he has this earpiece and he's talking to AI the whole time. Very, very similar. But then you start thinking to yourself, okay, you're having these conversations. You're becoming reliant on that. But is that conversation truly 100% private? Can it be hacked? Can it be used? And will it be used against you? These are the things that if somebody has your username and password, can they access that? Because keep in mind, sometimes you can have history and train it. It learns better how to talk to you. It learns your pace, learns your thoughts, sometimes better than you. They always say your spouse knows yourself better than you, maybe your parents as well, depending on your age. But imagine if a machine knows you more than you. What can they do with that information? And keep in mind, how are they making money? Is it off their $20 a month memberships or $200 a month memberships? Or are they going to eventually sell that information? The power's there. It's in front of them. Imagine knowing what's inside your brain, your private thoughts, and what's going on. Now, from a personal point of view, that's absolutely horrifying. You no longer have any privacy. From an investment point of view, how amazing would that be? How much easier it would be to sell somebody. What if you ask somebody who's the best AC place? Are you going to go to the place that pays the most to Grok or ChatGPT? Or do you want somebody that actually has reviews and referrals? So where do you draw the line on something like this? This is the questions that need to be asked. What if you take it a step further and these machines go on a killing spree? Who's at fault? Manufacturer? The programmer that gave its code? Or maybe just the axe company that it maybe has in its hand? I don't know. I don't have a clue. Where's the moral decision of this? What about a self-driving car that has literally 2 routes? One route has a child, one person has an elder, and it has to make a decision. It has to turn one way or another. Where's the moral to this as well? These are the concepts that people are talking about that are complicated. But hey, this is a show about personal finance. Let's enjoy these conversations of thought-stimulating ideas of how you should be investing your portfolio. This is what I'm talking about. The world is in fact changing. It's scary. And quite frankly, I feel I'm behind the 8 ball. But when I talk to everybody else, I'm surprised how advanced I'm really am. But this is where we need to see what could be done to help in our daily lives, number one, and number two, can there be money to be made? Because if the market starts going up, because we've seen those stocks that are up 100+%, we've seen these indexes that are up 30, 40+%, by properly investing, by staying disciplined, and putting your portfolio first, where you can look at tomorrow, this is how you're going to enhance.
That was a fast show, folks. I want to thank you for tuning in with us this weekend. You can always reach out to myself or any one of our colleagues here at Falcon Wealth Planning. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird. Or visit our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's falconwp.com for short, where you can go and visit our Knowledge Center, which redirects you to YouTube. We have over 1 million views, folks. And if you want us to discuss anything on YouTube, on the show, whatever, send your inquiry to radio@falconwp.com. That's radio@falconwp.com. And if you want this episode, any one of our previous episodes, you can go on podcast, Spotify. We have them all there. And folks, we want to thank you for your trust. We want you to feel free and feel comfortable to reach out with any questions that you have. I want you to have a fantastic weekend. Have a great week, and God bless.